My name's Dan Russell, and I'm an ambassador for Wrestling for Peace. I believe there's no better time in our country and our culture today for wrestling. I think our country needs what wrestling can offer. What have we learned from the sport, and how can we apply that to people in the midst of their own personal struggles? We're going to 10 countries this year, delivering $50 million worth of aid in medicine, and we're doing wrestling projects in refugee camps. I'm working with the Sahrawi people in Algeria. 42 years they've been living in the uninhabitable part of the Sahara Desert. So they're also an ancient wrestling civilization. If you go to the tombs of Beni Hassan in Middle Egypt, the 21st century before Christ, you will see hieroglyphs there of wrestling techniques we still teach today. Anybody that's wrestled, they will tell you it's the hardest thing they ever did. There's a bond that happens through wrestling. There's a bond when people go through hard things together, and it's not just about going through things, but when people grow through things. There's something beautiful that happens. A connection, you were in the battle, you were in the fight together. And so wrestlers across the world have this unique bond and connection. That's why Wrestling for Peace is an incredible initiative for the wrestling family to be a part of. I spent most of my grown-up years in Portland, Oregon, wrestling for USA Oregon Cobras, which was at the time the #1 kids program in the nation. Very cool. We trained 4 to 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. I did that for 21 years. My dad was a wrestling coach. Okay. So I had my very first wrestling singlet when I was 18 months old. My very first pair of headgear. So in my family, you're going to either wrestle and like it, or you're going to wrestle and not like it. Those were your two choices. I was a youth pastor for 17 years. I pastored a church for 10 years. I coached for 5 years at the Olympic Training Center, the 2004 Olympic teams. Nobody becomes a champion on their own. To become a successful wrestler, it took workout partners, it took coaches, it took bus drivers willing to take you. People that would show up early to do the weigh-ins or to put together the wrestling brackets. You got to have great competition. Part of the message that wrestling's able to bring is this idea that life is hard. Wrestling's hard. Wrestling is a fight. There's pain involved. It's a struggle. You got to learn to love that kind of culture, embrace pain, embrace hardship, embrace struggle. In time, winning will take care of itself. But you get caught up in wins and losses when you're in the midst of that struggle. It's easy to quit. We say this. Everyone wrestles, and anybody can wrestle. There are weight classes. You've got to learn what your gift set is, and you've got to learn how to maximize that. But everybody's different. Everybody has a different style, and different strengths, different weaknesses, and that's when you challenge yourself against another opponent. You're challenging yourself. How did I do in mastering those things that are in my strengths? How did I do at being able to protect those areas where I'm not so strong? We've had NCAA Division I champ who has no leg. We had a world champ, Fred Fossard, who had polio, whose one arm was smaller. It was a club. He learned how to use that thing, became a world champion. Wrestling is a sport that it doesn't matter who you are, there is a place for you in the sport. Now the challenge for any athlete is to take what they're learning in the sport and apply it to life. This is what I've learned in wrestling. Now how do I apply it in the wrestling match of life? You can see a lot of great athletes have great success in their sport, on the field, in the court, in the pool, but they haven't learned to take what they learned there and apply it in other aspects of their life. So I think the challenge for all of us is what are we learning? I wrote a book called Finish Strong. The whole idea for me was, what did I learn in the first 40 years of my life that's going to help me finish strong in the last season of my life? The messaging that's happening in our culture today is everyone gets a trophy. Everyone gets a prize. And what we're discovering is that message, when things get hard, kids today are saying, well, there must be something wrong with me. Yeah. If things get tough, if things get hard, and they will, you cannot be on this side of eternity with there not being hard things. Don't take those hard things personal and say there's something wrong with me. Begin to look at it. Sure, you may have made some mistakes, Sure, there may be some things that you feel ashamed of. Deal with that. Walk those things through. Grow through the challenge. This is the toughest wrestling match you're ever going to face is right here. And that's not just in the sport, that's in life. But life is hard. But this is what I believe. Wrestling prepares you for the challenge.